I'm with Michael Scotto, HoopsHype NBA insider, and Michael, it is that time of the year where there's a lot of conversation going on right now, and I got to ask you, because when it comes to trade talk, what NBA teams do you see going to be very active?
Well, Megan, I think we've got a few teams, and primarily it's around teams that are underwhelming at this point. First off, I'd look at the Sacramento Kings. They made a big splash to get DeMar DeRozan in the offseason, but they're on the fringe of the play-in tournament. That's not where they want to be, so look for Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, those two contracts combined, along with their future first-round picks to be dangled. You've also got the Chicago Bulls. They have a little bit of a youth movement they're trying to get to. They lost DeRozan in the offseason. They traded away Alex Caruso. So for them, Nikola Vucevic is playing really well, and Zach LaVine. Look for them to shop both of those guys. And for the Golden State Warriors, they're trying to get Stephen Curry and Draymond Green another championship, and they've got some intriguing pieces to make moves if they would like. Jonathan Kuminga is a guy that they were far apart on extension talks with. Kuminga wanted a max contract. They were looking at more like $30 million. That's a gap as wide as the Brooklyn Bridge across the area. So I think that's a name you have to look at, and DeAnthony Melton because of his expiring contract. So those are some teams that I'm eyeing to be active on the market, Megan.
All right, so we have a long list of things to be, on the hunt for and to be on the lookout for. But when it comes to the all-star type of players, those big names, who could be on the move?
Sure. I think first off, Megan, you got to look at Brandon Ingram with the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, I know he just got hurt with a very bad ankle sprain, but similar to Jonathan Kuminga, as we touched on, Brandon Ingram and the New Orleans Pelicans were very far apart in extension talks. Ingram is another guy who wants a max contract, but New Orleans was looking closer to a little above his salary right now, which is $36 million. So that's another big gap. They have to figure out what to do with him. I think teams around the league, I would say, are certainly monitoring Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. And I say that because for rival executives, the Knicks, before they acquired Mikal Bridges, looked at him. The Golden State Warriors have been keeping tabs on him as well. And for Miami right now, they're in the middle of the pack right now in the East. They thought that they would be better. They're going to have a big decision to make on Jimmy. He's 35 now. Is he a part of that core with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo? And last but not least, I would look at Kyle Kuzma of the Washington Wizards. Kuzma nearly got traded to the Dallas Mavericks at the deadline last year. And this year, Washington is at the top of the tankathon standings at this point. They're at the bottom of the league. And for teams around the league that are looking to make a playoff push, Kuzma's a guy that can step in, shoot threes, and play the floor. He's a piece that teams around the league are monitoring as well. So those are some big names that I would look at on the trade market, Megan, for sure.
Oh, man, that's a lot. But, we are also at a Brooklyn Nets game. And, I'm going to have to ask you about our team right here at Barclays, because when it comes to the Nets, they are all bought in on Jordi Fernandez and his culture, and we've seen this team fight and win some really, really tough games. What do you see the Nets doing during this time?
Well, the Nets are an intriguing team, I think, around the league. First and foremost, Cam Johnson's playing the best basketball of his career, scoring and shooting the ball. He's a guy that when I've talked with executives around the league, they think he can command at least a first-round pick. So with the way Cam is playing, I talked to him about that because he's been the subject of trade rumors for a while. And I asked him if he had a choice, what would he want? He said he'd want to stay here to build this and get this team on track. And he loves Jordi Fernandez as a coach. You touched on it as well. He's gotten the best out of him. Another player he's gotten the best out of is Dennis Schroeder. For Dennis, this is a guy that's in an expiring contract, around $13 million or so. It's a very tradable contract, and teams around the league have valued him at a couple second-round picks. I think if you're a playoff caliber team, you're certainly going to look for him to possibly fortify the rotation. Last but not least, Dorian Finney-Smith. He's been great for the Nets in plus-minus if you're an analytics person and into those stats. A 3-and-D guy that can fit, honestly, on any team around the league. Really good locker room guy, as you know, as well. So those are the three main guys. I guess last but not least, you could say Day'Ron Sharpe as well as a backup center. Certainly teams around the league are looking for younger, cheaper options. He's on their radar as well. So the Nets have a lot of pieces that teams are looking at, and I think it's going to be interesting over the next month or two leading up to the deadline, Meg, for Brooklyn.
Ooh, Nets fans are really, really intrigued about what will happen in the next couple of weeks. For latest information, Michael Scotto, he knows his stuff. Make sure you follow him on HoopsHype for all of his latest information.